Hey guys, this is Disha Karnad with another quick take. Before we begin, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Does India have a drug problem? India has a long history with drugs and psychoactive substances. Bhanga is mentioned in several Indian texts dated even before 1000 CE. Cannabis sativa is assumed to be an ingredient in Soma, the Rigvedic drink, which was famous for imbuing you with incredible powers. Even in our ancient texts, such as the Sushruta Samhita, drugs have always been used as a palliative or pain management method and have consistently been mentioned throughout the centuries. Even Lord Shiva, after consuming cannabis leaves from under a tree, is said to have called it his favorite food. When the Portuguese arrived in India in 1510, several reports stated that Indians used to use drugs such as cannabis and opium very frequently. Later Portuguese texts even recorded several recipes for the making of bhang. Then during the British Raj, owing to how common it was to use bhang, ganja and charas, they imposed a tax on it in 1798. Although the reasons were different, they stated that this was for the sake of the natives' good health and sanity. They attempted and failed to criminalize bhang in 1838, 71 and 77 respectively. Cannabis was still widely used in India even post-independence, and it was only after an international drug convention in 1961 that things changed. Cannabis is mainly consumed in three forms in India, namely ganja, charas or bhang. Post the convention, ganja and charas were criminalized in our country, but after requests from the Indian government citing tradition and ritualistic use of bhang, it was allowed to continue. According to the World Drug Report compiled by the UN Office of Drugs and Crime in 2016, the retail price of cannabis in India was 10 cents per gram, which is the lowest in the world and works out to be around 7 rupees. The Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment compiled a report in 2019 and stated that 2.83% of Indians use cannabis in one form or the other. The other drug that is commonly consumed in our country is opium. Historically, under the British rule, vast quantities of opium were exported from India and transported to countries such as China. Today, opium or heroin, known colloquially as brown sugar, are some of the most consumed drugs in our country. In terms of prevalence of opioid use, heroin is the most consumed at 1.14%, followed by pharmaceutical opioids, which are prescription drugs, at 0.9%, and finally opium at 0.52%. The consumption of other drugs in our country, be it methamphetamines, MDMA, cocaine, LSD, mushrooms or any other, is well under 1% and do not pose an immediate threat to public health. Before we begin to understand the extent of the drug problem in India, there are some terms that we need to know. Firstly, current use. You can be called a current user if you have used a drug even once within the preceding 12 months. But current use in itself is not dangerous. Drug use is said to be harmful if the individual scores between 4 and 26 on the WHO Assist scale and has been experiencing harmful effects in the preceding 3 months. The third term is dependence. If the individual scores above 26 on the WHO Assist scale and is currently using the drug, then they would be called dependent. At both a clinical and societal level, harmful use and dependence are the only ones that are matters of concern. So let's take a look at how India fares against the world regarding current use. As you can see, for cannabis, India falls way below the average of the world, whereas for opioids, it is extremely above. Dependent or harmful use in terms of cannabis has never been a problem for India. In fact, there has been an ongoing effort to legalize cannabis in India from 2015. In the year 2019, the General Legislation Movement Trust filed a public interest litigation stating that grouping cannabis with other hard drugs was unscientific, unreasonable, and arbitrary. Apart from just recreational use, cannabis has wide application in medicine, especially in the cases of pain management for cancer patients. The knowledge of the relative harmlessness of cannabis use is not anything new. In fact, even when the British conducted a large-scale study in the year 1893 regarding the impact of cannabis use on Indians, they concluded that excessive use, or dependent use as we might call it now, is extremely rare. No ill effects were found from use, and the users themselves did not pose any threat to society. The legalization of cannabis has become a worldwide trend, with more and more people joining the bandwagon. So who knows, in the next couple of years, maybe you could go to your neighborhood cannabis store and buy some for yourself. Now let's compare that with the harmful and dependent use of opiates in our country. The blue bars represent current use and the red bars represent problematic use. Now when we compare this with the current use versus problem use of marijuana, we see a stark difference. The problem use of heroin is significantly high and a matter of great concern for our population. So let's do a state-wise breakdown. Uttar Pradesh and Punjab are the two states with the highest opiate use. So what does this tell us about drug use in our country? India is better off than most other countries in terms of the drug menace. And a drug abuse problem in our country is restricted to only a few states, with more than half of the cases of problematic use being from the states named here. Another trend that we observe is that opioid abuse is a far more pressing concern than that of cannabis. But what exactly is the problem with opioid abuse? Apart from being highly addictive, most users eventually resort to injecting the drugs, and this contributes to the spread of diseases such as HIV. Another problem is that heroin is seldom sold in its pure form. In order to increase the weight, it is often mixed with other more harmful substances that eventually lead to the deaths of the users. Every third person in Punjab is addicted to one form of drug or another, and it has become a very serious public health issue in the state. But why is Punjab more prone? First of all, Punjab is a border state, and most drugs that are smuggled into the country travel through Punjab. Heroin is too easily available in this state. Packets are often left in farms, and they are collected by the farmers and stored at their homes, from where the couriers come and collect them and then peddle either in the town or transport them to other cities. The US is another country that has faced a similar plight, with drugs coming in through the Mexican border. And their answer to this pressing problem was to declare a war on drugs.
America's public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse.
But is a war on drugs really the answer? The efficiency of the DEA, or the Drug Enforcement Agency, is less than 1%. Billions of dollars were spent on this war on drugs, but most of the money was spent on the incarceration of non-violent drug offenders. This only resulted in America's prison population increasing exponentially and most youth from poor communities being very harmfully affected. It did nothing to kill the demand or supply of drugs into the country. And we have a similar problem with drugs being smuggled in through the border in the state of Punjab. Criminalization also leads to several other problems such as unregulated manufacture and sale to minors. It has been proven time and again that any consumption of drugs before the brain has fully matured is detrimental to mental health. Apart from this, in order to hide from the law, the drugs are made more and more concentrated so that they can be stored in smaller and smaller packages. And these unpredictable changes in concentration can lead to accidental overdose. Owing to a higher tendency to engage in risk-taking behavior, all across the world, the youth are more prone to drug abuse than any other age group. And this could be due to a variety of factors, some ranging from simple curiosity to a lack of awareness of the impact that drug abuse will have on their lives. If a child has tried drugs before the age of 15, the chances that they will have harmful or dependent use increase exponentially. This, combined with the influence of media and mounting peer pressure, makes the youth extremely susceptible to drug abuse. And in states such as Punjab, where 2/3 of houses have at least one addict living there, sending drug abusers to jail just isn't an option. The youth are perhaps at the most productive age of their lives, and at this critical stage, being sent to jail will impair them, even cripple them from finding gainful employment, or even deny them the chance of building a family of their own. The situation is doubly worse for women, as they are often abandoned by their families and ostracized from society. So what is the solution, if not incarceration? Maybe we can take inspiration from another country that had suffered heroin addiction in its population that had reached epidemic levels, so much so that it had become a public health crisis. Instead of incarcerating what would be a majority of the population, Switzerland tried a different method, something they called harm reduction. What would you feel if you could step into a clinic and ask them to dose you up with heroin? The Swiss model of harm reduction is something like this. So what they did is legalize the manufacture of heroin and made sure that heroin was administered in clinics under strict medical supervision. Instead of using dirty syringes and exchanging syringes between users, clean syringes were provided to the users and they were given measured doses. They even have a syringe exchange program where dirty or used syringes could be exchanged for new ones. And now that the individual would not have to scrounge up money to purchase heroin illegally from the street, they had enough time and enough support from the clinics to find gainful employment and focus on rehabilitation. Many countries oppose this and criticize this plan, stating that easy availability of heroin would result in more and more users wanting to try the drug. But what they did not realize is that in these countries, medicalization of the drug made heroin unattractive to young people, as the taboo factor was gone. No one was curious anymore about what its effects would be. Heroin assisted treatment, or HAT, is already included in the national health programs of several countries, and several more are planning to include it in theirs as well. Perhaps this is one method that could be implemented to help the youth of Punjab. It could be initiated on a trial basis within the state, and if the results are promising, it can later be implemented all around. Along with all this that we have already discussed, it is also important to educate the youth regarding the risks involved with drug abuse and also understand why the youth turns to drug abuse in the first place. The one common factor in a majority of the drug abusers, irrespective of the country, is that they usually belong to a lower socio-economic status. Just improving their daily living conditions and increasing their standard of living could deter many individuals from falling prey to drug abuse. Apart from this, the number of drug rehabilitation centers in our country are dismally low, and usually the social stigma surrounding drug use prevents people from reaching out and asking for help in the first place. Let's not vilify drug users and instead offer them the help that is required to come out of their addiction. If you or someone you know has fallen prey to drug addiction, please consult a psychologist and enroll in a drug rehabilitation program. India has not yet descended into a drug abuse disaster, but it's better to nip it in the bud. I have included some helpful links in the description, so please be sure to check them out. And before leaving, hit the subscribe button, share this video with your friends, and comment your thoughts below. Thank you. Bye.